Hello and welcome back to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast. My name is Bella and I'm coming to you from the North Bay area of California in the US. I am a knitter, spinner, fiber artist, lover of all fibery things, sometimes sewing, but mostly knitting and spinning. And this is a podcast where I like to share with you what I'm working on, what I'm making, and I also share with you my process of knitwear design. I've been getting really into making knitting patterns, so I share that with you as well here. So welcome, settle in. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. Hello, it's been a while. And if you're new around here, then welcome, hello. I hope you enjoy what you see here today. So if you are a returning viewer, you may notice that I've been away again for a while. It's the holidays. I think we all know it gets very busy around this time of year. This past couple of weeks, I was actually in Virginia visiting family and didn't have too much time to knit because there were a lot of family events going on and it was actually a very busy time. So today we have some knitting and spinning to talk about. I have a couple of finished objects to share with you and then lots of work in progress things and also projects that I'm planning. I've been doing a lot of planning recently with Christmas coming up and I am getting a very late start with Christmas presents, but I have high hopes that I can get them all done in time. So first we'll start with finished objects. This is a sort of finished object. I literally got off the plane coming back from Virginia like a day ago, so I haven't had time to block this or even weave in the ends, but my Birds of a Feather shawl by Andrea Mowry is as finished as I could make it. I ran out of yarn. I lost yarn chicken, unfortunately, but I am still very happy with how it came out. I wasn't able to finish the pattern entirely, so it looks a little strange in one part. I'll show you that in a minute, but first let's talk about the yarn. So the yarn that I used is Ruby and Rose's yarn in two of her bases, and this is her MCN base and her Surrey Alpaca base. So this color here, the non-fluffy color or actually the base, is the MCN, and then the fluffier one is the Surrey. Hopefully you can see that. So, sorry, this hasn't been blocked yet. I will show you this next time when it's all blocked and beautiful, but, you know, I love that transformation that happens, especially with shawls, when it blocks out and it blooms and everything gets beautiful. But anyways, these are both the same colorway. They're both the stationary colorway from her Letter Writer collection, which came out a couple of months ago by now. And I really love the yarn. It is so soft. Oh my gosh, it is extremely soft with the MCN base and then also Surrey Alpaca. Her Surrey base is Surrey Alpaca and silk, and I think Surrey Alpaca is just the softer sister of mohair. If you sometimes get a little scratchy with mohair, if you think mohair is a little scratchy sometimes, I would suggest trying Surrey because I think it gives the same effect, pretty similar effect as mohair, but I never get scratched by it, or it never becomes itchy for me. So yes, I used those two bases. And I was a little concerned at the beginning because the Surrey Alpaca is a little bit denser, it's heavier than mohair, so the yardage for one skein was less than what Andrea Mowry's pattern called for. I figured it would be okay. I was like, maybe the pattern doesn't use all of the skein, so I thought I would have enough yardage to finish the pattern to what it says to do to finish it properly. No, that didn't happen. So I ran out of the Surrey Alpaca base quite a ways before the end. I should have had a lot more yarn. I didn't think it was worth buying a whole other skein for it or asking Addie from Ruby and Roses for another skein. She did provide me with this yarn to try it out for her new collection that had come out, and I really loved it. But I didn't want her to have to go through all of that again because I just needed probably 30 yards would have done it. But anyways, so I wasn't able to finish the entire shawl. And it's giving, what ended up happening is this shape here at the end. Do you see how it's kind of like a V is happening? I think what was supposed to happen was that the decreases were going to fade out and become like nothing. Like I feel like all these stitches from here down were supposed to be gone by the end of the pattern. I think that's what would have happened, and then it would have given a much more streamlined shape to this. So instead of it being a triangle, it's kind of like a triangle shawl at the top, and then the bottom gets a little wonky. So it's a little interesting, but I figure when I'm wearing it, when I have it tied up around my neck, you're not going to see it. You're not going to be able to tell really that that's there. And then I might also actually use this shawl as like kind of decor in our new place. I'm coming to you from my new studio now, so this is still very much in the works, but this is the new studio. So yeah, I still really love how this shawl came out. It's very bouncy, it's very, very drapey. Perfect shawl base here with the MCN and the Suri alpaca. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. So I will be wearing this and can't wait to have it blocked. I'm going to be doing that right after I finish filming this episode. So that's how that project came out. So happy to have that finished. And then something else I've been working on is a sweater that I have been knitting for the Inspired by Ellen Cal, being hosted by a couple of podcasters here on YouTube. I will link them all down below. A lot of Nutiden lovers like myself. So this knit along, you don't have to use Nutiden at all. It's just based on the colorwork design, the colorwork pattern. You can see it here at the bottom. So I think it kind of looks like peacock feathers. Some people have said different things. Sorry, I'm filming by a window, so this is different lighting than I'm used to. Hopefully you can see the details of that. So I'm also kind of far away. Still trying to figure out this new setup. Bear with me. But yeah, I am really liking how this is coming out so far. This pattern was, or this choice of yarn and the way that the pattern is constructed, this was entirely inspired by Caroline of Acre, the owner of Nutiden Yarn, or Acre, maker of Nutiden Yarn. She made this in the same colorways and same sort of colorwork pattern with the Inspired by Ellen Cal, and I just fell in love with it. So I had to make my own version. So I'm not using a pattern technically for this. I'm just using the colorwork motif. That is what the Inspired by Ellen Cal is all about, this sort of peacock feather looking thing. And I'm just repeating that all the way around, working in the round. This is going to be a sweater. So I'm working it bottom up, and this is the length of the body that I like. So I am putting it there, and it's a little tiny bit cropped. It comes about to my hips, which is the length that I want. And I am working on the sleeves now. So I'm working everything bottom up, and then I will be joining them all at sort of the underarm point, and then working in the round and doing the yoke also in the round. So that's kind of the plan. And I have a little sketch, initial sketch that I think I'm gonna want the design, how I want the design to look at the top portion. I'm gonna be repeating this bottom area of the colorwork again and doing some little different things. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. And yes, I have also gotten started on one of the sleeves. So I'm just repeating the same Inspired by Ellen Cal little motif there. I hope you can see this. Now that's getting really dark. I'll have to figure this out. But yeah, this yarn is so squishy. I am using US size 10.5 needles, so a very open gauge. It's not really turning out open though, because it is color work, so it's 2-color color work. And I'm using Nutiden held double, so it's really giving a lot of space for the yarn. Since Nutiden is unspun and it can kind of fill the space that you give it, it's really filling out, and it's not like open at all. Even though Nutiden held double is like technically a worsted weight yarn or an Aran weight yarn, depending on who you ask. I don't know, it's really filling the spaces out, and I think it's going to be a very warm garment because it's going to be trapping a lot of air, and I'm very excited about it. So that's how this one is coming out. Oh my gosh, the fabric is so squishy. If you have some Nutiden and you want something really, really warm, like I've never felt, I haven't felt Lopi yarn yet. I definitely plan to knit with it at some point, but I feel like this, at least the muchiness of it and how like squishy and bouncy it is, this is just like so warm, I feel. I think it's going to be very, very warm. So I'm excited for that. Since now we are in the Bay Area and it is much colder up here than Los Angeles, I have found, I definitely want a functional warm sweater that I can just toss on when I'm freezing. So this will be very nice and warm to wear. And oh, for the people who are curious, I am using Nutiden in Wagenhem, the Wagenhem colorway as the gray, and the light blue is Inest. And those are from the August collection of this year. Loving that project so much. Okay, next is some little friends that we made. So these are some little pumpkins. You may have seen, I posted quite a few weeks back at this point, a little tutorial on how to knit these pumpkins. Kind of too late to be telling you about this now, since it is December. Oh well, oopsie, sorry. But that tutorial will always be there for you here on YouTube, on this channel. Yeah, for next year if you want to make a little pumpkin. Or you could even knit it in maybe like a cooler color, like more wintry color. That might be nice actually too. But yeah, so I made these little guys for the fall season of October and into November. They're just little knit pumpkins. I used Nutiden yarn because I have tons of it and I really like it. I used Nutiden yarn and then just knit them in different sizes. This one I used 2 different colors held together. So I think I used Hadden and, what is that one called? Virvan. I used Virvan. So this one is 2 different colors held together. Really beautiful shifts of color there. And then these 2 are just with Hadden. So in the tutorial I explain to you how you can change the size and shape of these and make it to your own liking. So that's a really fun, cute little project. If you have some scrap yarn, it uses barely any yarn, and then you can stuff it with whatever you would like. And I like to use little sticks as the topper. Hopefully you can see that. So that's a little tutorial that's out there if you would still like to knit with that. And before we move on, I thought I would tell you what I'm wearing because I feel like I forget to do that a lot. So I am wearing my Anne Boleyn sweater jacket. I'm wearing my Anne Boleyn jacket today. I have broken this out the past couple of weeks because again, it is finally cold here and I can wear it all day long and it's very fun. So this is the Anne Boleyn jacket by Alice Starmore, sorry. I really love this knit. It took forever. I spent pretty much all of last year knitting on it, not exclusively, but it took me quite a while. But it is a beautiful pattern and there are just so many lovely details on this. So I really love wearing it and it feels very fancy and regal. So it's a lovely jacket, lovely sort of cardigan. You could wear it open or closed. And I also used Alice Starmore's yarn for this that she recommends in the pattern, her Hebridean 2-ply base. That's a woolen spun, really lovely yarn. It's sort of similar to like a Shetland yarn, but I think it's a little bit softer and loftier. So I would highly recommend that yarn. I definitely want to work with it again whenever I have the chance. So that's what I'm wearing. And then behind me, which hopefully you can see, this is the Caroline shawl, which is one of my designs that's going to be coming out at the end of the month. So if you would like updates on that, you can follow me on Instagram at 100 Acre Wool, or I will also be talking about it here on YouTube as well. I really love how this shawl came out. It's really big and huge, very cozy and comfy. Nutiden yarn again, but you could use any sort of yarn that you would like. And it uses a worsted weight yarn as well as larger needles, so it'll go quite quickly even though it's pretty big. So I'm excited about that pattern. So another finished object is another design that I've been working on. it's been getting cold and I really needed mittens. I found out that I actually don't own any mittens. So yeah, life of a California girl. I needed to keep my hands warm, so I figured I would cast on one of the ideas that I've been having brewing in my head for a while, and figured I should make it finally happen now that it's finally cold. So I cast on these pair of mittens, which, oh my gosh, I'm so far away. Hopefully you can see this. It is the Fields of Gold pattern, or sort of motif in the middle there, if you can see that. So these are still unnamed. I'm not sure what I'm going to be calling them, but I just really wanted some mittens in my life, and I really love this motif here. That was in my Fields of Gold sweater pattern, so I thought it would be a really lovely duo. And I chose a different color for this one. This one is knit in Cavats by Acre and Knitted in Yarn. A really lovely sort of subtle lilac color. It's a very gorgeous color. And the feeling of this yarn is, I think it's softer than some of their other bases. It's really lovely. So here's how the mitten is looking on. It is worked top down in the round. The thumb is worked separately and then added on later. And we have some little grass stitches and just lovely little textures all throughout. This is a really quick knit. It uses a little bit larger of needles than some other mitten patterns would, I think, because it is a thicker yarn and it blooms very nicely, so you don't need to knit it as fine of a gauge, I found, at least for my preference. So I'm really happy with how this one came out, and I need to cast on and finish the other ones so that I can finally start wearing them and share them with you all. So I will have a test knit haul coming out for these soon, as soon as I can. I will get to talking about my Christmas gift plans in a minute, and there's a lot of plans. So those will take priority because Christmas, but this pattern will be coming to you soon, so that you can actually knit it and wear it for this winter season. So yeah. Ooh, my hand is getting toasty. That is doing its job. So yes, this was a very quick knit. Alrighty, and I think now we will get into spinning. So I don't know, I've really been getting back into spinning. I was really into spinning in the summer months, and then now I'm just on the spinning kick again. So for absolutely no reason at all, I decided to start spinning up this fiber. I'm still not exactly sure what I'm going to make with it, but I just had this urge to spin up all of this colorway of fiber. So this is some Acre fiber. I promise you, they don't sponsor me. Acre does not sponsor me or anything like that. I just really love what they create. I think they make beautiful wool goods. Yarn and fibers and things like that. I just really love their practices. So that's why I talk about it and use it so much here. But anyway, so this is some fiber that I picked up a while ago. I think this was fiber from back in May, and I just really wanted to use it up. It was quite an uneven bat I found. So this bobbin, you may be able to tell, it's pretty even. I mean, there are flecks of different colors throughout it. It's mostly like a magenta and grays and some whites and deep reds as well in there, but mostly it's magenta looking. But then this one, which is the same fiber, you can see on the outside here, this bit is almost entirely white, and it kind of has gradiated. So that was kind of fun. So I'm really interested how it's going to look when I apply these together. So these are just the singles. I have spun them at probably a lace weight. So when I apply them, I'm hoping it'll be somewhere between fingering and sport weight. So we shall see on that, but I am really excited to apply these together and knit something. I think I'm gonna knit pretty simple, like a pretty simple sweater. I just want the yarn to really shine there. But the thing about that is that I didn't order enough of this particular colorway to knit an entire sweater for myself. So in their most recent collection, I think it was the November collection, if I'm not mistaken. They also put out some more spinning fibers, quite a few more spinning fibers. And one of them, I will grab them. One of them is very similar to this colorway. It's actually hard for me to tell them apart. So I've already started spinning up some of the new colorway. On camera, you may not be able to tell the difference at all. So these are actually two different colorways, but I'm going to be applying them together to make them one yarn, and they're both pretty much like a magenta, deep magenta, sort of purpley browny color. This is what the fiber looks like. It comes to you in this big old bat. So this is 200 grams. You purchase them in 200 gram bats, and oh, they're just a pillow. I love cuddling up with these. Even if you never use it and it's just kind of like even like decor. Is that weird to use fiber as decor? I have a basket of fiber now in my living room because that's where I like to spin. I just have a basket of fiber sitting there and I'm like, this is beautiful. Like you could just get some fiber to just have in your home. So yes, that is what I've been working on. And now onto some Christmas talk, some Christmas gift talk. I am also making some handspun for a sweater for my partner. My partner is not my husband, he's my boyfriend, and I know about the boyfriend curse, but I heard something about how if you spin your own hair into the yarn, then it negates the curse. Sounds like witchcraft to me, but I'll try it, sure. Because I just really want to knit him a sweater. It's been some years that I have been wanting to knit for him, or a sweater for him, and I can't wait out any longer. I just got to do it. So I am going to be knitting him a Christmas sweater, and I think I'm going to be knitting him, we've been looking at some patterns together. I think he wants I think it's called the Teddy Bear Sweater by Les Garçons Knits. I will put a picture here and link it down below if you're curious what that looks like. But it's a really cute yoke colorwork sweater with some little teddy bears here at the top and flowers and things. And it also has a hoodie on it, which I thought was really cool. And my partner Austin really loves hoodies as well. So I'm going to be knitting that for him. And for that, I thought I would do some handspun for two of the colors that I'm going to be using. So I'm not going to be doing handspun for the main color, which is, we're going to use a gray, like a deep sort of slate gray for it. And then for one of the colorwork colors, we're going to use some handspun. So I've started on that. This one is again Honor Oak Air fiber, and this was from their most recent collection in November. If you would like to pick up some of these fibers, I do believe they are all still available. So when Honor Oak Air is making another shop update, it might actually be in January. I'm not sure if they're going to do one before the end of the year this year, but anyways, the next time they have a shop update, some of these fibers might still be available. So this one is their greenish colorway that came out. I'm not recalling the colorway name of it, but it's a really beautiful sort of army green, and it's got flecks of yellows and whites and oranges and grays. We really loved that colorway, so I've been starting to spin it up, and it's really lovely. It kind of reminds me of moss. I really love just the little flecks that are coming. It's a very calm, seems like you're walking through a forest sort of green. So that's going to be one of them for the colorwork sweater for him. And then the other one that I'm going to be spinning up for him is this fiber right here. This is just a beautiful sort of simple cream color. I would say most of it is just a lovely warm cream, and then there's also some flecks of orange, like bright orange in here. So it gives it a lot of life. So this one again is Honor Oak Air as well. And again, I don't remember the colorway. If I can find them, I will put them in the description below. So links to everything that I'm talking about, all that will be down below. So yes, I'm going to be knitting a sweater for him, and some of it is going to be hand spun, some of it is going to be purchased yarn. I'm not sure what exactly yet. And then some other knitting projects that I have planned for Christmas gifts. I'm going to be knitting some other pairs of the undulation mittens by Life is Cozy, Ksenia of Life is Cozy. I knit those. I was actually a test knitter for that pattern. I think it was last year, maybe two Christmases ago. And I really love those mitts. It's a beautiful cable work pattern here. And I wore them on my trip to Virginia and lots of family members saw them. So now I'm gonna knit like 2 or 3 more for them. So those are gonna be hot on my needles. I've already started one of them and cast those on, but I'll show that to you next time. And then some other things, I'm gonna be making like a beanie and actually a few beanies and some socks. I think all the regular Christmas gift things. And then also a sweater for one of my friends and a hat for one of my friends. It's a lot of things. A lot of things on my plate. But I have high hopes that I can get them done. Maybe not all before Christmas, but around there. And that's okay. So that is the plan. And now I guess we'll get into some acquisitions. Just a couple of things that I've picked up since we last spoke that I wanted to share with you. So I am new to the Bay Area, and one of the yarn shops that is in the Bay Area in Oakland is a Verb for Keeping Warm. I really love their Instagram and online store. I've been following them for quite some time. They mostly make hand-dyed yarn, naturally dyed yarn, and their assortment, their collection is absolutely huge. I think they have the most colorway options of naturally dyed yarn that I've ever seen. So if you're looking for naturally dyed yarn and you want like a specific color, it may not be online. Sometimes they're sold out, but you can always get in touch with them, and they have like a color library that you can ask for like a very pretty specific color because they have so many options. And in the store they have an entire wall of naturally dyed yarn, so it's very lovely to see. But their store is based out of Oakland in California, and I visited there a few weeks ago. So they sell their own yarn and then other indie dyers as well. And I think even some larger brands of yarn as well. So it's just a lovely store. So I went in there and had a little visit, and they sell some Spin Cycle, and I can never say no to Spin Cycle. If I see a colorway that is grabbing me, I just have to pick it up. So I'm a lover of purple, and I just thought the colorways in this were just, or not the colorways in this, but the little colors, the little pops of color throughout this. I just thought it was so beautiful. So this colorway is Bruised Ego, and it is their dyed in the wool base, their typical sport weight yarn. So it looks like handspun, but it is not actually handspun. So this one, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with it yet, but I'm planning on it going into some new design at some point. That is the plan so far. And then another thing that I picked up while I was there is some spinning fiber. They had a few of these in a little spot in the store, and I had never seen these on their website. I'd never seen their own brand of fiber on their website. And I was talking to one of the shop ladies there, and she was telling me how they have a spinning fiber monthly box that you can subscribe to, or a monthly subscription of spinning fiber, that they will hand dye, naturally dye spinning fiber, and then they will send it to you every month. And sometimes they also have leftovers. So this was a little section in their store that they had leftover fibers from that, and they don't put these on their online store. So a little thing, if you live in the area, maybe go and check out their spinning fiber, since you can't get it any other way unless you join the subscription. So this color I just thought was so beautiful. It's a lovely like golden mustard. I just thought it was so nice, and it's so super soft. So this one is called Essential Luxury, and it is, the colorway is Honey Cake, and the content of this fiber is BFL and silk. So it's 85% BFL and 15% silk. Only 3 ounces, a little bit less than 100 grams, but I think it'll make a gorgeous skein. And there's just some little subtle differences in colors, so very excited to spin this up. Lovely, lovely fiber base, very, very soft. And I think that's everything for today. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're having a lovely holiday time so far. I know it can get very stressful and crazy, and things feel like they're moving too quickly. At least for me, it's like you blink your eye and Thanksgiving's over already. What? So I hope you are able to keep your head on straight and don't get too overwhelmed by Christmas knitting. I don't know what boat you are in that. At least for me, I try to do a lot of Christmas knitting because I just want to share it with everyone. So anyways, I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you have a good rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully with a lot of Christmas gifts. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.